The Sokoto State Governor, Alhaji Aminu Tambuwal, has called on traditional and religious leaders in the state to enlighten the people on the need to obtain their voter cards ahead of the 2019 polls. Tambuwal made this known at an enlightenment workshop on voter registration organized by Zaman Lafia Development Association in Sokoto at the weekend. Joining us in the studio to share his thought on this is a political analyst, Ayodele Adewale. It's good to have you join us right now.
Thank you for having me.
Now, there has been called by INEC, or INEC has revealed several times that people are not coming forth to collect their PVCs as it is meant to be. Now, how is this threatening to going preparatory to the election in 2019?
Well, it's a great threat in the sense that you are going to have a lesser number of people participating in that process. But I think INEC can take more step forward because they have the contact address of those people and they have their phone address, phone numbers. They could decide to send an SMS bulk information to them, and also using some of their members to go on the street to do some level of sensitization, because it's not everybody that will have access to the mass media, electronic mass media as the case may be, because of the lack of energy supply. And it's not everybody that can afford newspaper, and larger majority of people don't even have Android phones. So they still have to use the local traditional methods combined with the text messages.
But what do you think could be responsible for this empathy? I mean, for this lack of, participation? Well,
you know, a lot of people are on the ras race. Ras chase, if I may use that word. People live daily. And most people would rather prefer to go and chase after their daily living than go to INEC office and spend like 2-3 hours in order to get their cards. And I think INEC should also borrow from Professor Ataru Jega's ways of doing things. I remember the last registration exercise, it was done at various polling units. So it was closer to the people and people can access it. But right now, you have people just concentrating in one particular enclave. And when they come there, they come in large numbers. And even when they come, they don't have places to sit down. You can imagine over 200 people, you understand, besieging a point that's created by INEC, and they're having nowhere to sit.
So it's largely a fault of INEC now, not in the case of maybe having the belief that it's going to be the same of the same when the elections come around.
Well, it's a two-way thing. In some states where development have not been fully seen by the people, they've lost hope in governance. In some states where people are seeing what government is doing, they want the government to continue. So those states, you are going to see people, even if you have to wait for 10 hours, they will wait. But states where people have lost hope, they rather sit in their homes.
There were reports recently that INEC intends to burn as a way of disposing the unclaimed PVCs. What's your take on that? What's your opinion on this?
Well, I think that would be very wrong for INEC to do that, considering the amount of resources that have been used in producing those cards. INEC should think out of the box. They should work with CDAs, work with NGOs to help them go call out these people or inform them or get it closer to them, as in using the polling unit structures and providing some leverage for people. And that will be better than them burning it, because burning it, for me, it's not the way forward.
And looking at INEC now, we know INEC is trying its best to be more credible in terms of conduct of elections and all of that. But for some time now, there's been a lot of, skepticism now on the level of INEC's conduct of elections. Now, do you think that INEC has all it takes to ensure that when people go to vote, they have every trust on whatever comes out in terms of the outcome of the elections?
You must not be quick to forget that INEC is just an umpire. The umpire just go there to make sure that things are readily available for people to carry out their civic responsibilities. I think that question should be directed more to the security operatives, because if the area is not well secured, people will find it difficult to even come out. Taking a cue from what happened in Bayelsa, in the River State, where even the police authority could not guarantee security. So the security operative must be on their toes to making sure that confidence is reposed in the minds of people and guaranteeing that the process will be credible. No matter what INEC does, you cannot put your men in the line of crossfire if they are not adequately protected. We have seen in some states where corps members were killed And we have also seen in some states where INEC staff were also killed. So INEC should work more with security operatives, and security operatives also must depend more on intelligence reports. Because right now, I would believe that the security operatives are gathering intelligence reports and dotting their I's and crossing their T's to making sure that things are well done.
All right. Recently, the National Assembly tried to reorder the sequence of the election as based on the timetable INEC came out with. And a lot of Nigerians have been showing concern for and against the sequence. And some have said that certainly making the election, making us to vote 3 times is going to cost even more. Now, how does this threaten democracy generally? Because we also know that the moment the presidential election is conducted, there seems to be a bandwagon effect of people voting, whether they like it or they don't like it, voting towards the direction of the party that wins the election.
Well, I have a great departure from that view because every man for himself and God for all. Some people will vote because of the governor in the state that is doing well. Some will vote because of their House of Rep member, and some will go vote singularly because of the president. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. I think the level of voters' awareness must be, put to the front burner for people to see very well. And I think every party should showcase more on their activities. Every candidate should also show people more. And I keep telling people that it's more easier for the aspirant to say, if I'm elected, I will do, I can do, than for those who have been elected. They will ask you, what have you done? It's a sharp divide. And for anybody to say that putting this before that would create a stagger or create a domino effect is far from the truth. And they could have their own thoughts too. But since we are copying higher climes, developed nations, I think if it's possible, all elections should be done in 1 day. In the U.S.,
Really?
Yeah, all elections should be done in 1 day.
Okay.
Like I said, all man for himself, God for all. If it's possible, all elections should be done in 1 day, and you reduce the cost of spending, and everything be done. And I think INEC should also look into a situation where if somebody turns 18, the best gift you can give that person is a voter's card. We should start collating data. We have a lot of general hospitals, private hospitals that are registered, and we should start amounting our data. As soon as you're 18, the government should bring your voter's card to your home and give it to you as a birthday present. Because right now, even the banks are doing it. On your birthday, you just receive an alert and say, somebody said,
that would be a really nice gift to make Nigerians
That's
patriotic indeed.
The greatest gift I got in 1993 was for me to vote in that election.
That's wonderful.
And I keep remembering it.
All right, let's leave it at that and hope that things turn for the better for the conduct of elections in our country. Thank you very much, Ayodele Adewale, for your thoughts on TVC News Hour.
Thank you.
Thank you.